Sorry. Sorry, just me again. Hi. Kenny Glick, trader, 30 years now. Yeah. So a lot of interesting things happening. Um, Probably made my best call of my entire career. 382.50 to 357.50 on the cues for the short. Um, haven't covered a lot of the outstanding naked calls. We did cover the short, on the Friday pivot, but I'm still naked some QQQ calls because I'm not afraid of them going to 420 anytime soon. We're only 50 points away, but you understand most of the trades that I do are intraday. So let's get right into it. I love the market, first of all. It's doing what it should do, quote unquote, should. We had a massive explosion to the upside, caught everybody off guard, everybody chased. They didn't want to call it a bull market till June 20th. The bull market had been rallying. The bull market had started June 20th of last year, but it took them a year for the media to get onto it. And now you understand, right? When the media starts talking about it, it's like the CNBC Barron's effect and the internet. When the internet starts chirping about how you got to be in the market and all the people that were bearish, extremely bearish. Now, look, I'm a perma bear, but I know what I'm doing. I know when to pivot. The media doesn't know when to pivot. The so called internet doesn't know when to pivot. I know when to pivot, right? I know when to be long and strong. I built a hedge fund for about a month and a half. I destroyed everything in my path and then I sold everything. And now I'm holding one stock. And what was that? Rig, right? Rig. And what happened to Rig since the CNBC crew started liking it? It's been now 3.5 weeks and the stock stinks now. But we bought more yesterday at 775 because it got down to support. I still like it. I'm not going to give up on it just because CNBC topped it out. But more importantly, just notice what happens. Take away something every day to educate you. And the one thing that I've noticed the most is most people don't know what they're talking about. And I launched a website based on that. When I was in that rut for 3 years, I was like, you know what? I got to make some money. Why don't I just launch a website where I just admit that I'm clueless and people trade against me? And it worked until I started figuring out what to do again. And now I would actually prohibit anybody to take the other side of my trade because you're going to lose. I'll take the other side of anybody else's trade if anybody's willing to have that contest. I'll take the other side of your trades, but you got to take the other side of my trade. See how it comes. See how it works out. Anyway, bottom line is everything's awesome, right? We've already had this discussion. My friend who's always complaining about the economy and the president and economics, yet his life rocks. His kids both bought their own homes. They have 2 cars each. His life rocks. His wife is hot, yet he complains about everything. And I ask him, why? That's what's wrong with America. You see the guy like that chirping, you think, man, this guy's having a hard time. Man, this economy stinks. This president's awful. Yeah, what that guy said. And then the internet, where you could find at least 500 people now that'll just glom on to whatever you're saying. And next thing you know, you think you're right, but you're wrong. That's why when everybody was talking about the recession and doom and gloom, I was like, are you guys kidding me? If everyone's talking about it, it's not going to happen. And that's exactly how I based everything. I go against what most people are saying. And I look like a bad guy, right? Sometimes when I say, nah, this guy's completely clueless. Let's go against him. Like when people were talking about shorting Carvana at $5. When people were shorting stocks or still talking about shorting stocks a year ago. And I said, the game's over. Even stocks like Roku, you're not shorting them at $30. They're down 470 points. You're not shorting Zoom at 50, no matter whether you think they're going out of business or not. The easy money's over, and that's what you want to try to do. You want to take easier trades. You don't want to make it harder on yourself. Let's stop right there. So why is the market so awesome? Space is going to zero. AMC going to zero. GameStop going to zero. Nikola going to zero. There are stocks that should go to zero. And when those stocks are doing what they quote unquote should be doing, that makes me feel bullish. We're allowed to go up, but certain stocks should never go up. Certain stocks should be delisted and gone, like every Chinese stock. We don't need these stocks in our life. They're all scams. None of them are real companies, and they can't be trusted. So why bother having them on our market? Vote for me, and I will end ADRs of Chinese stocks, and I will not allow them to be listed in this market, nor will I allow politicians to trade the stock market. And there'll be real fines, not fines like monetary fines, ass rape fines. Yeah, I said it. You're going to jail. Because if you're going to make a victim out of my favorite woman in the home goods area, like Martha Stewart, let's round up some real criminals, like real criminals, not Martha Stewart. She was a scapegoat and a victim. Anyway, this market rocks, but there's a time for swing trading. There's a time for investing, and there's a time for day trading. What is it now? It's like a combination of both. I still wouldn't invest in the stock market. I don't see the idea. I don't see the lure of owning stocks for long term, because most stocks stink. If you're going to buy long term, you go QQQ and you just sit back and watch it. If you haven't noticed, the Qs never go down, ever, right? There's never been an extended period of time since the inception of the Qs where they've actually stayed down. They never stay down. That's just a fact. Just like UVXY, there's never been an extended period of time where UVXY has gone up, which is the only guarantee in the market. You can short UVXY for a living. We could talk about that some other time. But right now, I'm talking to one person in particular. So I've been training a few people, and I'm trying to train one guy. But the questions he asks are the wrong questions. So I know that he's not on the right page so far. He's telling me he was looking for ideas. Nobody's looking for ideas. The ideas keep finding us. You watch stocks that reported earnings, stocks that are in the news, and you trade around the VWAP. That's it. Your search is over. If you're searching for ideas, you're doing it wrong. Stop right there. If you've traded 12 different individual symbols on the day, you're doing it wrong. You don't need to go chasing after every shiny object. You could sit there, trade the Qs, two stocks that reported earnings, and SOXL. There it is. There's your 4 stocks for the day, every day. There's at least 2 stocks that report earnings, sometimes 15 or 20. Choose 3 or 4 to watch, usually the ones that have the most volume. Keep an eye on the Qs, the volatility index, and the SOXL, and there's your day. And then there's always some weird biotech stock that comes running along. You probably shouldn't trade those because they're generally a distraction. They're annoying. I tend to lose money on them. So I've gone away from those. So right now, by 8:28, this day for me is over. Why? Because I shorted the Qs. So the way that I trade is that I have a bias. Now, I was taught by my mentor, you shouldn't have a bias because that clouds your judgment throughout the day. I agree. What I mean is you shouldn't come in saying, I'm going to do this, because then your brain is set to do that, even though the charts or the market's telling you, no, don't do that. But your brain, so you have to unlearn what you thought you were going to do and then do what is normally what is being done. What I do, right, is loosely that, but I come in, the first thing I said to myself is, when do I short the Qs today? And when do I short NVIDIA? Yeah. You're coming in long. You're coming in looking to buy NVIDIA after a 375 point move in the last 6 months? Really? I'm not saying it's not going to 1,000, but it's probably not going to 1,000 this morning. It's probably not going to 1,000 today, but it probably is going to 1,000 because it's that stock. Remember when Tesla went up every day and everybody's like, hey, valuation. Valuation doesn't matter when everybody wants something. Remember the artwork? Remember how I compare the stock market to art? If everybody wants the art, there is no top, right? But if the artist turns out to be a pedophile, then that artwork is worth nothing and nobody wants it. So there is no bottom. It'll just go to zero. Sentiment is real. So right now, the sentiment is everybody wants to own NVIDIA, right? The artwork is the hottest artwork on the planet. The artist is killing it. You've been to the gallery, you've been to the shows, you love this guy until something changes. But NVIDIA is not a regular type of stock. It's that stock. It's the one that never stops going up. There's a few of those, very few. Most stocks stink. Most stocks you get scammed into by some awful investment banker. Remember, everybody's complicit. The investment bankers are complicit. The rating agencies are complicit. The SEC is complicit because they don't do anything. They do nothing. FINRA does nothing. Nobody does anything. Nobody ever gets the real criminals, right? So now I forgot my point. Something about being complicit. I'm just distracted by watching the Qs, whether or not they get over 373 again. But right now, the market is awesome. It's awesome. There's plenty of activity. This was a kind of a boring week, but there was enough. And that's all we need. I just need enough. Give me something to do. Yesterday, Dick's and Foot Locker, as boring as those trades were, at least they worked. Foot Locker and Dick's long. It's funny every time. But more importantly, folks, in 3 weeks, there's something going to hit the market that only I know about. The countdown is on. So later this afternoon, I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman that I know personally that has some inside information on a group of stocks that are set to explode for 100, 300, 700, up to 24,000%. And he's going to blow your mind. I can't give you that information now. You're going to have to click this button behind underneath me to get access to this amazing gentleman who later will not only be wearing a suit, but he'll be sitting in a leather chair to make it real official to the knowledge that you could find anywhere on the internet. But he's the only one that's going to talk to you sitting in a leather chair with a suit on. You better trust this guy. So be here in the next couple of hours, maybe later tonight. I'm going to introduce you to somebody that knows more about AI than anybody on the planet. He'll be wearing a suit, sitting in a leather chair, possibly smoking a cigarette, because that just proves that he doesn't give a shit. And he knows more than all of us. And I'm going to introduce you to that guy. He has information that only he could find by looking on the internet, but he's wearing a suit. Remember, you could trust a guy wearing a suit because he knows more than you because he's wearing a suit. Have a great morning, everybody. Good luck. And come to the website. I will show you the algorithm that shows you behind the scenes. Remember, my scanners are the scanners. I have the greatest scanners in the world. This is not a joke. I have the greatest scanners in the world. The 3 scanners that you need. I'm not going to list them to you because they're secrets, but I have them and they're running up on my screen every day and you can see them live. But more importantly, they confirm your bias to what you think you might be doing. Bring it back before I leave. So confirmation bias, right? You're not supposed to come in with a bias of what you think you're going to do, but I do it anyway. But I don't put the trade on based on the bias. I wait for the confirmation of the bias. So if you came in thinking, ooh, I'm going to short this NVIDIA, well, if you know what a head and shoulders pattern looks like and you understand price action, then your confirmation, your bias has been confirmed. Push the button, short the NVIDIA, push the button, short the Qs, and by 8:34, you're sitting here with a day's pay and you're thinking, hey, maybe I can do this every day and make myself $400 or $500. Just don't blow yourself up on stocks like Tupperware and Yellow and some worthless biotech stock that you've never heard of, because that's my problem. I'll make $500 and then I'll throw $1,000 away on some shitty biotech stock that goes ripping by because I have an addictive personality. And I think after doing it for 30 years, I'm owed. See, that's a bad attitude. I'm not owed anything. Every trade's exactly the same. Every trade's exactly the same. Risk reward, price, VWAP, fear, greed, right? And why do I still do it? Because I think in the moment, I've got an advantage, and it's usually some $3 stock that I'm like, right, I'll buy 5,000 shares. It's not a big deal. And I always get beat, always. And when something happens 90%, you could say always, because if it's 90%, it's pretty much all the time. But that 10% keeps you coming back. That's an addiction. Just don't do it. Cut it out of your life. Cut it out of your life. Like buying options before earnings reports, right? Even if you bought NVIDIA calls, let's see where they went out at. All right. So if you bought NVIDIA calls and you buy them at the money, right? Let's say you went out and you bought the NVIDIA 3, 4, you would have bought the 475s for 21. So that's 696, 496. Where's the stock right now? 503. So you had to lay out $21 on a guess to make $2, $3 tops right now. Just don't do it. Even though you're making money on this one, but think about you needed a pretty damn big move. Gambling on options before earnings reports is the worst trade I have ever found because, again, you're guessing, you're overpaying. Not a good combination to make money in the market. All right. I gave you a huge amount of information. If you'd like some more, I've been doing this for 30 years. My name's Kenny Glick. If you have somebody that's been steering you in the wrong direction, come hang out with me. I do everything live. So if I'm getting something wrong, you're going to be the first to know because I'll be getting out of it right there live in front of your face, admitting that I'm wrong. It's okay. I'm wrong every day, at least 2 times, but I'm right 5 times. So I usually come out ahead. And even when I'm wrong 7 times and I get nothing right for the day, I teach you how to limit your losses, manage your risk, manage your money. And even those days where you get nothing wrong and you're thinking to yourself, what the hell am I doing with my life? It's just one day. And then you come back the next day and maybe you go 7 for 7. But right now, discipline is telling us to stay short the cues, right? That little spike is now one of your stops. So if you're short the cues, there's a little double top right there at 3. I'm giving it to you. 372.97, right? It's a tight stop on a $300 stock, 50 cents. And let's say you still got 200 shares left of your 500. You got one stop at, you might as well put it at 273. And if you want to let it breathe a little bit, 373.27. And voila. I know you can't put stops on right now. Those are just those are the prices where I'll push the button to cover the last 200 shares. But right now, remember, each day you do this, take away something, learn something every day. You get better every day, and then bottle that knowledge. And then let me show you how the market really works, and you'll be unstoppable. And you'll understand why when they say the market's a game, it's a game and it's rigged. It really is. And when you see the rigging, finally, like the Matrix, you'll never unsee it. And then you'll be, I'm not going to say happy. You're never going to be happy as a trader. But you know what? Let's say you find some sort of contentment. Because if you can make $300 a day by 11 o'clock in the morning, not leaving the house, that's about $75,000 a year sitting on your ass for a couple hours a day. And that's where we're at. Some days you'll do $2,000. Some days you'll lose, $500 or $600. But in the end, if you stay disciplined, you treat the market like a game, you only trade price, you keep your fear out of it, inevitably you'll come out ahead. And that's what it's all about. It's not about getting rich. Nobody gets rich as a day trader. You could. So how do you stay content? Like I said, you're never going to be thrilled to be a trader. It's so frustrating. It's so hard. There's no doubt. But you find some contentment in the idea that, hey, wow, 6 weeks went by. I've made money 80% of the time. I'm net positive for the last 6 weeks. Hey, this is pretty good. The next thing you know, 3 months go by. Yeah, Blanche 43 with the E at the end. All right, cues are almost getting to the point where we might just say bye bye to the short. Try it again later. Or don't, because the market already went down. It already corrected. This could be now the next leg up to a market that will be talking about how it never goes down. Now, look, I don't think that's going to happen because of seasonality. September is a tough month to get through, but if we get through September, where are we going to go? October is usually sort of good. November is usually good. December is usually good. January is usually good. Next thing you know, we're talking about the January effect. You got the internet still talking about recession. Oh, actually, the internet has stopped talking about the recession. They're all back to talking about the AI and the bull market that just started. Yeah, you love the internet, right? So the internet's just getting bullish. That's why we corrected. As soon as the internet got really bullish, that's when the correction happened. Now, if the internet was as fickle as they normally are, they would have already started talking about how this was going to turn into a crash and the recession's coming. That's what makes the market so awesome. Everybody's usually wrong. That's why you just trade price. And if you are short Nvidia right now, fucking kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Kill it all the way to 495. Kill it. Kill it. I get it. The stock's probably going to 1,000. Not today, it's not. Not today. Today, you fade. You fade the gap. Now 20 points off the highs from last night, 11 points off the highs from this morning. Kill it. And if you are short right now, look where you're at. You're coming to 500. You cover some here. You put a stop at the 502.50, and hopefully you don't get stopped out and drops another 7 or 8 points. That's how you stay in the game. Take something off the table, pat yourself on the back, hope for more, but stay disciplined. That's it. That's the combination. Read my book. Infinitesimally small balls. I know about being afraid. I know about blowing up accounts. I've done it so many times, it's not even funny. I know about being afraid and disappointed and frustrated. It's all in the book. This book will make you cry, but at the end, it's a happy story. All right, let's go silver. What? Have a nice morning, everybody. Nice. BA short. Cool. Ooh, nice hit. All right, careful out there, everybody. Later.